Now I'm going to welcome to the mic Dan Hodgson.
Okay. Wow. Hello, Prince Albert. Prince Albert Raider fans. I love you. Always have. Good evening, Prince Albert Raider players. Moose Jaw, glad to see you here all tonight. In my haste getting here, I left the first 2 pages at home. That might be lucky for you. But the first thing I wanted to say is welcome Treaty 6 for having me on your territory. Thank you. And thank you to the Raider organization for honoring me and humbling me in this respect. When I started playing here in '83, it's not one of the goals that I had or goals that we had as a team to go up in the rafters like that. It's just one of the things that comes along with great teams and great teammates and great coaches, and that's how that all came about. I think the only goal we had here was ever, and actually I knew it for a fact, the only goal we ever had here was to win the Memorial Cup. And that was a 3-year goal, and I think we accomplished that pretty well. You Raider fans, when we came here, you were used to winning championships, SJHLs, Centennial Cups. And I remember watching the Centennial Cup from behind that net down there. I think Dave was with me too on that trip. The Raiders brought us in and meeting some of the players and watching how they acted and how they were and how they practiced. We got to watch them. We got to watch winners and what winners did and how winners walked and how winners talked. And that rubbed off on both of us, and I'm sure a lot of others that were there. And very early on, I knew what it was like and knew what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a Raider and be like that and to have championships come back to the city, which is deserved because your fans deserve that. You guys, this is for you fans. You stayed with us that first year when we had all our hard knocks. Like you heard already, we came out of the gate, an expansion team, winning only 16 games that year. The majority of us were pretty young. Like Dave was 16, Viveros was 16, I was 17. We had a lot of young guys who turned out to be the nucleus of that Memorial Cup team in '85. And you fans stuck with us. This place was full every night. You never got down on us. It was almost like you were watching us grow. And you had understanding, you had empathy for us, it seemed at times. There was never a bad word said. We could always hold our head high here in Prince Albert, even when we were losing that first year. But we really wanted to turn that around for you fans and give you really what you really deserved again, was championships. And I think by giving us that, we really wanted to give you back more. And I hope we served you proper for you. Those of you who were here back in '85, I hope we did all right by you and brought you home that Memorial Cup that you so well deserve. So thank you, fans, for that, and thank you today for still supporting the team. Thank you. I'd like to thank the Prince Albert Raider organization for honoring me this way. Curtis Hunt, Cliff Mapes, Mike, you guys put a lot of work into this. The other names are on the other paper, so I can't really say, but I thank you all very much. I know the hard work that goes into something like this, and it's greatly appreciated. And for you guys to even want to honor me like this is I'm very humbled by the honor. I'd like to thank all my billets here in the Raider organization. 2 are here tonight. Susan Bay, well, I'll get to the names, but for all you did, I was blessed to have 3 great families here. First of all, it was Gary and Glenda Hutchinson and their kids, Mandy and Jeff. Gary and Susan Bain, the kids Marcus, Melanie, and Amy, and Gary and Marilyn Dawson, and their kids Sean and Kendra. Thank you all for taking care of a young boy who didn't even know when the water was ready to boil wieners at that time. Hey, Glenda. So you were all dear in my heart. And I'd like to thank the friends and family that are here, that made it out here. Thank you, guys. Thank you all for being here. And I'd like to thank everybody else here that had a positive influence on me out of Prince Albert, the Perano family, the Odnicons, Lila Henry, that's Dale Henry's mom. Lila was like a mother to me in my time here in Prince Albert too. Not too many people know about that. And I thank you all so much. I'd like to thank my brothers and sisters, my mom and dad, because I think, as these young men here will attest sitting on these two benches, none of us, and I'm sure the men behind me too, will attest that without our parents, without our families, without the support that we all need during all times in our life, not just when we're young, but in all different times, even when you're older, you know, family and best friends and ex-teammates, those are the ones that you can really rely on. And those are the guys that really helped me advance too with all their support, because a 16-win season brought a lot of tears, believe me. As for my mom and dad, and I'd like to honor one of my brothers, Wayne, who since passed away here recently. And I know they're watching right now, and I know they'd be so proud to see that name up there, because they're all up there in that name. My brother Wayne used to come here all the time, as my mom and dad, and he'd stay at the Best Western right across the street over there, and Dave and I would actually go over there after every game and have fun with him and talk about the game and talk about what happened and spend hours with him, and just the joy that he had traveling all around the world with me. Actually, he's been everywhere, in Cowichan Valley on Vancouver Island, to Vancouver, to Toronto, to Switzerland, everywhere he's been, and he was my biggest fan, and I really miss him, and he would have really loved this. This was right up his alley. And you know, my mom and dad were probably my biggest supporters. They had to split themselves up when I was 14 years old to go play Bantam hockey in Edmonton. And at a time when not too many people were doing that, they saw fit to do that, to sacrifice their time together to give me a better time in my pursuit of a pro hockey career, or further myself in hockey. And I'll be forever indebted to my parents for that. Now I'd like to just touch, when I first got here in '83, there were some Raiders that have a big contribution on teaching us what it was like to be a Raider. I seen one here already tonight, I'll get to him. The winning mentality that it took, the hard work, the effort, like I mentioned. And I'd like to say thanks to those guys for doing that too. They came off of championship teams and Centennial Cup teams. Some of them, their names were Warren Harper, Bob Lowe's, Carl Van Camp, Robin Bartel, Dave and Brad Tippett, Mark Odnicon, Perry Thomas, and John Lamb. These guys were great Raiders in my heart, and I got to enjoy learning from them, and that pretty much instilled a lot of what it was like to be a Raider. And then, so thank you guys for that. And I hope you young men, and I hope in Moose Jaw also, I hope you guys have players who pass it down, and I hope when you leave here, and whatever years you leave, you pass that down too, what it means to have that sweater on, and to be proud, and to be forever honored by it. And you got a good group of people around you that can always be there for you. So I mentioned when I was 13, my parents split up. I moved to Edmonton, and I was fortunate enough to run into a man there, a young boy actually, who I didn't know at the time would turn out to be the best right winger I ever had probably in my life. And he's here tonight. I would like maybe if you could give my right winger, Dave Pizzine, a nice round of applause here. So Dave, I first met Dave as a 14-year-old Bantam in Edmonton, where we formed the highest scoring duo in the Bantam leagues in Alberta. We hit it off. We became best of friends, which continues to this day. And fast forward 2 years later, and we showed up in Prince Albert as a young 17-year-old, and Dave being 16. In Dave's 3 years here in Prince Albert on my right wing, his first year he scored 40, second year 68, and his third year 64. And one of the things I'm very proud of too is it's a team game, and to be a part of at that time we were the first line in WHL history to have 360 goal scorers on the same line. Our left winger Tony Grenier had 62, Dave 64, and I had 70 that year. And I thought that was pretty cool. We could all share in that. I knew if I could just give, thank you, thanks. I knew if I could just give Dave a shot, chances are it was going in. And when things were getting a little tight out there and tough on me, and if I needed a little bit of extra room, or if I was getting leaned on a little too much, I only had to tell Dave once, and then that would be taken care of pretty quickly. He would take care of a lot of my problems out on the ice for me, and I always had that in my corner too, so that really gave me a lot more room. Dave is the best right winger and a friend that a guy could ever ask for. And thanks Dave for always being there for me, not only on the ice, but off the ice too, and we'll continue that forever. Thanks, Dave. Thanks a lot, Dave. I'd just like to do a shout out to my line mates I had here in Prince Albert on left wing. My first year was Warren Harper, then Al Stewart, and then the last year was Tony Grenier. All great guys, all fantastic players. And on right wing, like I said, Dave Pizzine and Kenny Morrison, who helped out in all those years. Now I'd like to get to my coaches that I had here. Rick Wilson and Terry Simpson. When I first got here, little did I know that I would play for one of the greatest mentors that I would ever have in my life. Rick and Simso would shape me on and off the ice into the man I am today, with how they were and how they treated me with respect and dignity and a lot of positive energy. But more specifically with Simso, I can't express enough, Simso, what you meant to me those 3 years we spent together, and all the memories and thoughts you left me with for many years. Right up to this day, Simso, words can't express what you mean to me. I've held you in my heart for all these years. I held you as a father figure, and I give you the highest, and that's the highest compliment I can give anyone. Simso, I just want to really thank you for everything that you gave me, and let you know that you still mean the world to me. And Simso, I love you very much, and thank you for everything. You forgot the part that there was nobody in that shower in Finland. You were just looking for things. Now I'd just like to finish it off, talk about the Memorial Cup team of '85. Some of the best teammates I ever had, and probably the best team I ever played on as far as a yearly team. We had everything. We had scoring, we had toughness, great defense, and great goaltending. Royden Gunn is part of that duo right here, and Gunner was a big part of that team too. Hunter was a big part, and some of the guys you've seen here. But that team was the epitome of what it was to be a Raider for me. We handled ourselves on the ice and I believe off the ice the way Raiders would be. We were respectful, we were proud, and we always were proud to walk the streets of Prince Albert and be known as Raiders. And and the respect that was given to us from all the people we would be with and see in school and on the streets and everywhere we went. You know, we fought together, we're tight-knit, and I could speak for hours on the team, the 85 Memorial Cup team, but I think you get the gist of what it takes to be a winner here in Prince Albert, and I really thank every one of my teammates. Without them, I would have been, you know, just another player. It takes great players with grit and heart and intensity to help everybody elevate, and especially elevate to the places that they took me. And so without them, you know, who knows what would have happened. Stan Wilson, our equipment manager, thank him, and the whips we had here in the team. And I just want to leave you with one thing. I am a Raider, and I'll always be a Raider. Thank you.